The horizon is tilting violently to the left. The altimeter is unwinding like a broken clock, less than 400 feet above ground level and dropping like a stone. Captain Anju Katiwada is wrestling the yoke, but the ATR-72 isn't biting the air.
I'm getting nothing.
It feels mushy,
Pull up.
dead. She jams the throttles to the firewall, expecting a surge of torque, a kick in the back. Nothing. The props are spinning, but they aren't pulling. They're effectively giant air brakes, dragging the aircraft out of the sky.
Losing energy, max power!
Bowers is still sluggish.
Bank
Her
left,
hands are scrambling. Beside her, instructor pilot Kamal KC is staring at the panel, the master caution flashing amber in his eyes. He's frozen. The startle effect has locked his brain in a cognitive loop. He can't process the reality in front of him. The stall warning screams, a synthetic voice cutting through the panic.
Stall, nose down, full power!
Pull up.
The nose drops. The ground, the jagged gorge of the Seti River, rushes up to fill the windshield. Gravity takes the wheel. In seconds, a routine visual approach turns into a terminal dive. No explosion, no bird strike. Just a simple, silent mistake that turned a perfectly good aircraft into a 23-ton paperweight. This is the story of Yeti Airlines Flight 691. Rewind 30 minutes, Kathmandu. The ramp is buzzing with the morning rush. The bird is an ATR-72-500, registration 9 November Alpha November Charlie. She's a reliable turboprop workhorse, designed specifically for this kind of short-haul grunt work in the thin Himalayan air. She isn't factory fresh, but she's airworthy, well-maintained, and fully operational. On the flight deck, the gradient is steep.
Checklist complete. Runways out.
In the right seat sits Captain Kamal KC.
Rotate.
He's the heavy hitter here, an instructor pilot with a staggering 21,905 flight hours. He is the authority figure, the guy who teaches the teachers. Today, he's flying as the pilot monitoring, PM, conducting a familiarization flight for the newly opened Pokhara International Airport. In the left seat, with her hands on the controls, is Captain Anju Katiwada. She's no rookie. With 394 hours in her logbook, she knows her way around an ATR.
Flaps
But
set,
today,
ready for takeoff?
she's technically the
Checklist
student,
complete. Runways
looking
out.
to get
Thrust
signed
set,
off on
let's
the
go.
new visual
V1,
approach.
rotate.
Positive rate.
In the back, 68 passengers are settling in for the quick 27-minute hop. The weather is VFR, visual flight rules. A bit hazy, but visibility is solid. It's a textbook day for flying. No storm fronts, no mechanical gremlins on the maintenance log. Just two pros doing what they do best. They begin their descent into the valley. The checklist seems smooth, but in aviation, routine is often just a calm surface hiding deep water. They are 720 feet above ground level. The runway is in sight. It's time to dirty up the wing, get the flaps down and slow her down for the tarmac. Flaps 30. It's a standard call-out. Captain KC, acting as the pilot monitoring, reaches over to the center pedestal to execute the command. And this is the moment where biology betrays technology. KC has spent thousands of hours in the left seat. His muscle memory is hardwired to reach across with his right hand to grab the flap lever. But today, he's in the right seat. He's reaching with his dumb hand, his left. He doesn't grab the flap lever. His hand drifts slightly to the left and wraps around the condition levers. These control the propeller pitch. Instead of dropping the flaps to generate lift, he inadvertently unlocks the safety triggers and pulls both condition levers all the way back to the feather position. Feathering is designed for engine failures. It twists the propeller blades so they slice through the air edge-on, reducing drag. It's a safety feature. But when you do it to both engines on a perfectly healthy plane, you are effectively putting the aircraft in neutral. The turbines are still screaming, burning jet fuel, but they are disconnected from the props. Zero torque, zero thrust. The scary part, the plane doesn't shudder, it doesn't shake, it just stops flying. And because the engines are still making noise, neither pilot realizes they are now gliding a 23-ton brick toward a gorge. 4 seconds. That is how long it takes for the aircraft's computer to realize something is critically wrong. The master caution lights up the dashboard. But here is where the confirmation bias sets in. Captain KC thinks he just lowered the flaps. His brain is building a reality that doesn't exist. He ignores the chime, likely assuming it's a minor nuisance or a sensor glitch. Why is there no power?
Why is there no power?
Katiwada
N1
feels
and
the
fuel
energy
flow are
bleeding
rising,
away.
but torque
She
is dead
pushes
at
the
zero.
power levers forward. The engine gauges show the turbines spooling up. N1 is rising, fuel flow is increasing. But the torque indicators remain dead at zero. It's a ghost input. The engines are roaring, giving the auditory illusion of power, but the propellers are just slicing wind, offering zero resistance and zero thrust. We are now in the realm of cognitive tunneling.
What?
Katiwada is staring at her primary flight display. She's fighting the yoke, trying to keep the nose up, but without thrust, airspeed is life and they are spending it fast. She asks again. She pleads. There is no power on the engines. She turns to her instructor.
There's bomb
This is the man with 20,000 hours, the expert. She needs him to say, check the condition levers. She needs him to reach down and push them back to auto. But KC is silent. He says nothing. He doesn't troubleshoot. He doesn't look at the center pedestal.
30.
He is
Flaps 30,
overwhelmed,
set.
mentally
Sync rate's
paralyzed
high,
by
we're
a
still losing
situation
it.
that his brain refuses to accept. He finally moves the flap lever to 30 degrees, trying to fix the previous command. But it's rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The speed drops below 100 knots. The wing gives up. The stick shaker activates, vibrating the control columns to warn of an imminent stall. Katiwada pulls back instinctively to stay away from the ground, but this is the death blow. Without power, pulling back just increases the angle of attack until the airflow over the wing detaches completely. The left wing stalls first. The aircraft snaps violently to the left. The horizon disappears, replaced by the brown and green of the gorge walls. Gravity wins. The struggle is over. The smoke clears, and the investigators from the Aircraft Accident Investigation Commission of Nepal arrive at the Seti Gorge. They are looking for the usual suspects: bird strikes, fuel contamination, or a catastrophic engine blowout. But as they sift through the twisted metal, nothing adds up. The engines show no signs of pre-impact failure. The fuel lines are clean. The weather was fine. They pull the black boxes, the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, and ship them off for analysis. What they find inside is the aviation equivalent of a smoking gun. The flight data recorder paints a bizarre picture. At 10:56 a.m., the propellers didn't fail, they were told to stop working. The data trace shows that at the exact moment Captain Katiwada called for flaps 30, the propeller pitch values dropped to 0. But the flap surface data? It stayed flat at 15 degrees. The investigators turn their eyes to the cockpit layout, specifically the central pedestal of the ATR-72. It's an ergonomic nightmare scenario. The flap lever and the condition levers are side by side. Sure, they have different shaped knobs. The flap handle looks like a wing, the condition levers are round. But in the heat of the moment, with the wrong hand, tactile cues aren't always enough. The final report is damning. It concludes that the crash was caused by the inadvertent movement of both condition levers to the feathered position. It wasn't a mechanical failure. It wasn't an act of God. It was a slip of the hand. A momentary lapse in focus from a pilot with 20,000 hours of experience. The engines were screaming for fuel, ready to fly, but the propellers had been commanded to quit. The plane was perfectly flyable, right up until the moment it wasn't. In aviation, we talk about the Swiss cheese model. Disasters rarely happen because of one big thing. They happen because a dozen small things line up perfectly. Flight 691 is a brutal reminder that experience is not a shield. You can have 20,000 hours or 20, gravity doesn't care. It respects physics, not logbooks. The crash forced a global re-evaluation of cockpit ergonomics and Check 6 culture. Airlines are now doubling down on crew resource management, drilling it into pilots that the monitoring pilot is just as critical as the one flying the stick. If there's a lesson here, it's written in blood. Trust, but verify. A 2-second glance at the lever could have saved 72 lives. Fly safe, check your 6, and never get comfortable. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into aviation.